Hello and welcome to another Doctor Assistant 1 video. Today I'm doing my top 3 Doctors of Doctor Who. So yeah, I've done my 3 worst Doctors from Doctor Who, or actors who have played the part of the Doctor, so if you want to see that, you should go and check that out. So yeah, thank you, people. This will be extremely controversial topic. So if you're thinking, oh my god, he didn't mention so and so, or this doctor or that doctor, and oh my god, why does he like that doctor, but for that reason, that's a weird reason, or that's a reason that I never thought of, or whatever. Comment below and stuff. I love hearing you guys and gals feedback about stuff. So yeah. So the more the merrier commenting. Thanks. Yeah. Number 3, it was really hard to pick a third best Doctor, because I was really torn between the 7th Doctor and the 8th Doctor, and I just kept going back and forth and 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 back and forth. But I came to the conclusion that I felt like one of them was better for one major reason, because so I've picked that Doctor over the other one, and I hope that's the better reason, and that is the right reason, even though unfortunately there's no right or wrong with, you know, who you think is the best actor who's played the Doctor. It's all down to personal preference, and that, but yeah. Without further ado, in at number 3 is Paul McGann. Paul McGann, why I think he's so good, he pretty much was the last Doctor of the classic series, so that's a big thing. He pretty much carries the movie, the Doctor Who movie, and that, and yeah, and makes it kind of watchable, and that, and bearable. It's not that bad, but you know, it could be 1,000 times worse if Paul McGann wasn't in it, I could imagine. But yeah, no, I mean, as well, I think he's the third, really good Doctor in a different way to the other Doctors, because he was like the Doctor during the Doctor Who wasn't around, but he was still the Doctor. You know, the fan base was still, you know, there reading the comics, the magazines. You know, he's the biggest Doctor of the expanded universe. You know, the audiobooks, Dark Eyes, you know, Dark Eyes 1, 2, 3, and even the 4th one I think they're making. You know, I think he was probably one of the first Doctors to go into Big Finish audios, you know, probably because there wasn't the TV show anymore. So, yeah, so expanded universe-wise, he is probably the biggest Doctor and probably the best expanded universe of Doctor Who sort of Doctors, and that. But obviously, I really do just regret seeing him in Night of the Doctor as well. It makes me more and more regret the fact that they didn't do a TV series with the 8th Doctor. And if they did, then technically that wouldn't be classed as the classic series, or you know, there wouldn't be that divide, you know, new series, classic series. There'd just be Doctor Who, you know, it'd just continue on, you know, and that. But we might not have got brilliant actors like Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant playing the part of the Doctor because of it, you know. So apples and oranges, really, about that. Yeah, his costume was really cool, and that he was kind of like I don't know, he had this way of looking kind of like young and old at the same time. You know, in both the costume and in the way he looks kind of old looking, but he's still quite young, you know, and he was younger obviously when he did the TV movie. But obviously as an actor it was really overwhelming for him, because when he stepped out of the role, because he'd only been, literally, they shot the film in Toronto, and that for 14 weeks, and literally the massive fan base were like, oh my god, you're amazing, conventions and stuff, and he was like, whoa, you know, he didn't think that it'd ever be that big, you know. But yeah, I think in Night of the Doctor he was absolutely superb. No one ever expected him to ever have a regeneration scene, and thank God he did, because, you know, it wraps up his tenure really nicely, and that. What else? Oh yeah, in at number 2 would probably be the 11th Doctor. Ironically, I think he gets better as the series go on, but the series the first series of Matt Smith's even tenure is probably the best. Then it's mixed up really. It's like Series 7 was average as a whole, I thought. Series 6 was the abomination, and Series 5 was really good. I thought, at least. But I don't know, I feel like Matt Smith was, kind of way too young at the time when he did Series 5, but he still carried the series, and actually, in parts, he was really dark and really old-looking, Again, it's like, the team and the people who, cast for Doctor Who and do the auditions, and the people who have to make those choices somehow have a really good way of picking those right people who look old, even though actually they look young, and I think that's a really good thing to have, and that. But don't get me wrong, it is nice to have an older actor to play the Doctor, but it's nice to have a person who can somehow look young and yet be actually or act older or look older, and that in kind of the mental capacity and how he works. Costume wise, it was really cool. Tweed jacket, bow ties are cool. Awesome costume. Sonic Screwdriver is good. The aesthetic of it, I really like that version of the Doctor's Sonic Screwdriver. I don't like the overuse of it. His mad zaniness, his love for science and exploring, very explorer, kind of Indiana Jones sort of thing, and that really mad, the catchphrase Geronimo, kind of just vocalizes and verbalizes, his passion and his, absolute love and passion, for just jumping into the unknown unexpectedly, into a danger without a second thought, without a glimmer of hesitation. He just goes into danger, even though it's obviously dangerous. And a sane person wouldn't. But he's not a sane person. He's the Doctor. He's mad, zany, kooky, crazy man. And that. Number 1 would hands down be Tom Baker, the 4th Doctor. If you didn't know, hands down the best Doctor in my opinion. Why? He's like an amalgamation of Indiana Jones meets the Lone Ranger. He's like Indiana Jones because he's like goes into the danger without a glimmer and without any hesitation, much like Matt Smith's Doctor. But I feel like he just does it, and you can just see the passion on his face, or that he's you don't even have to say Geronimo, and you already know that he's like, oh my god, Geronimo into danger, and that. He had Sarah Jane, he had an amazing run, 7-year run, longest running Doctor, amazing iconic costume design, the scarf, the fedora, which makes him more like Indiana Jones. The kind of Lone Ranger-esque thing is like, when Sarah Jane leaves, he's just like, goodbye, or doesn't even really say goodbye, and then kind of goes on to Deadly Assassin, and that's the Lone Ranger kind of analogy there for me, because, he's kind of like, he doesn't look out for a companion, but the companions look out for him. He's an interesting person, but he's never like, I want you to join me, he's just like, go away, I don't particularly want you to, be following me, and yet Leela comes aboard in Face of Evil, and that very, Lone Ranger, like, I could imagine Tom Baker's Doctor being in a Western, kind of like a marshal, like a marshal of a town, He's got that, he's got the fedora, which is similar to a Stetson, like Matt Smith's Stetsons, and that. He's got the mannerisms and that. He's got the can-do attitude and the kind of diplomatic side to him. He can see the good in something bad, and he can see the bad in something good, and vice versa, and that, And and as Tom Baker always says, he was never playing the part of the Doctor. He was the Doctor, and I think that's the key to Doctor Who. You don't play the character of the Doctor. you be the character of the Doctor, and there you have it. You will be the Doctor, you know. And he does audios now, and he was in the 50th, and he literally is the Doctor, definitive Doctor. Pretty much majority of fans definitely would agree with me that he is the Doctor. You know, and he loves being the Doctor. You know, he as he says in many interviews, if you look on YouTube, he'll say that he ended up, loving being the Doctor more than Tom Baker, because people would give him recognition. You know, fans would give him utmost, passion and love and that, which, he always describes as more loving than actual, like, normal love you get from a family member, and that, because they're so passionate about who you were, you inspired them, you made them scared as a kid, and I have such vivid memories of you, such strong memories of you being a hero and an explorer and that, and revolutionising how they imagined a hero could be and that, and he's just absolutely phenomenal as the Doctor. So Tom Baker, definitely, hands down, in my opinion, the best Doctor. His Sonic Screwdriver was badass. His, Tasting Companions was badass. You got Adric, Sarah Jane, Leela. You got brilliant tenure, run out with brilliant companions, with a brilliant Doctor. Definitely the golden age of Doctor Who, hands down. So yeah, thanks for watching. Comment, rate, and subscribe.